Hey there, good to see you guys again. I'm Lily.
And I'm Rachel.
And today we're going to be doing the final day of Kestrelflight's week. Yeah, I know we only had 2 days, but he's a super obscure medicine cat that doesn't really do a lot. But this scene is from Crowfeather's Trial, one of our most recent super editions. So that's pretty exciting. And this one's really weird. Kestrelflight has a super strange vision in this book that I'm going to read to you guys right now. And then we'll kind of go into what this vision is about. So first I'm going to be reading from pages 37 through 41, and then pages 57 and 61. Let's get started. One star's gaze swept around the camp, checking that all the cats had assembled. Kestrelflight visited the moon pool last night for the half-moon meeting. He had a vision there, a vision that both he and I find troubling. Kestrelflight, please tell the clan what you told me. Crowfeather felt a stirring of anticipation as the young medicine cat drew himself up to face the crowd. Barkface came to me last night in StarClan, he announced, and he gave me a vision about the tunnels that lie between our territory and ThunderClan's. Crowfeather was instantly alert, feeling his pads prickle with apprehension. This couldn't be a coincidence. It had to have something to do with what he and Hootpaw had seen the day before. Or maybe it has to do with my dream. Barkface showed me the tunnel entrances, Kestrelflight went on, and as I watched I saw dark water gushing out of them in huge torrents. The kind of deluge that could sweep away cats and completely drown a camp. As he spoke, anxious mutters rose from the cats around him. Crowfeather saw many of them exchanging fearful looks. It sounded as if a terrible fate was creeping up on WindClan, as if they were being stalked by some huge predator. Or maybe a little predator, we don't know yet. Crowfeather was just thankful that Barkface, the former WindClan medicine cat, was watching over them. At least StarClan is giving us a warning. At first, Kestrelflight continued, a wild wind kicked up and drove the water back. But eventually, the wind dropped, and the water kept on rushing and gushing out in a second huge wave until it swallowed up everything. The mottled Grey Tom winced at the memory. The sound of it was unbearably loud. Crowfeather suppressed a shiver as he remembered the horrible moment in his dream where he had stood alone in the dark tunnel, with water up to his shoulders. But what does it mean? Amberfoot called out from where he sat beside Sedgewhisker. Kestrelflight hesitated a moment before replying. I think it means something dangerous is lurking in the tunnels, he meowed eventually. The way the wind controlled the water suggests that WindClan can win this conflict. But the wind also dropped suddenly. Perhaps that means that it'll be a tough battle. For a moment, the WindClan cats gazed at one another in silence. And then, suddenly, a clamor broke out, cats calling out ideas of what the vision might mean, and then arguing with one another's suggestions. One star yelled for silence, but no cat was listening. The tunnels did flood before, Weaselfur's voice rose above the rest. Maybe it's gonna happen again! Now the clan was silent, pondering his words. After a moment, Hairspring meowed. You could be right, but I and the rest of the patrol who were with me yesterday scented something weird at the tunnel entrances. And Hootpaw saw...
Ghost cats!
Hootpaw interrupted, leaping to his paws, his shoulder fur bristling.
I saw ghost cats!
The apprentice stood tall, his chest puffed out. Crowfeather guessed that even though he was scared, Hootpaw was enjoying the attention and feeling of importance as his announcement gave him. Ghost cats. Nightcloud was giving him an annoyed glance, as if she didn't like to see her apprentice showing off in a clan meeting about ghost cats. I'm not a medicine cat, but I can see Tick Duty in Hootpaw's future, Crowfeather thought with a wry snort of amusement. Yells of disbelief and confusion greeted Hootpaw's words, while One Star flicked his tail in irritation. Very well, he snapped. Hootpaw, tell the clan what you think you saw.
A ghost cat!
Hootpaw responded, his eyes round with awe.
It was all white and glowing, and it stared at me like it wanted to give me a message.
A message for you? Whiskernose sniffed dismissively. Why would it want to give a message to an apprentice? And what was this message? Gorstel asked. Hootpaw gave his chest fur an embarrassed lick.
It didn't say. It just vanished into the tunnel again.
Heathertail let out a meow of amusement. Or maybe it sprouted wings and flew away?
It did not!
Hootpaw claimed indignantly.
I know what I saw! And Crowfeather saw it too!
Crowfeather tensed so as not to shrink backward every time a cat turned their gaze towards him. I caught a glimpse of something, he admitted. But it wasn't a ghost cat. There's no such thing as ghost cats. To his dismay, many of his clanmates were looking scared, as if they believed what Hootpaw had told them. They didn't seem to share his denial of ghosts. Instead, they were exchanging nervous glances, their eyes wide with dismay, as they murmured doubtfully to one another. Do they all have bees in their brains? Crowfeather wondered. Do you think it could be the Dark Forest cats? Crunchfoot asked, his voice quivering. Could they have come back to get revenge? Of course not, Whiskernose asserted with a contemptuous flick of his tail. Dark Forest cats wouldn't come back white, would they? White is sorta like StarClan. These must be cats who fought on our side. Kestrelflight. Not every cat who died in the Great Battle has been seen in StarClan yet, right? Though Kestrelflight was looking definitely uneasy with all these suggestions, he shook his head. No, they haven't, he replied. I think that's because some people got killed twice. They got killed, and then they turned into a StarClan cat, and then they got killed again, and poof, they were gone. So maybe that's why some people haven't been seen. So maybe there's a way to bring them back, Larkwing suggested excitedly. Annoyance prickled Crowfeather's pelt, as if a whole clan of ants was crawling through it. Dead cats don't come back, he snapped. Except for leaders who have lives left. For StarClan's sake, Larkwing, don't you understand death? And Larkwing's like, I don't know, I don't understand death. Anyway, so that was that scene. So I guess Kestrelflight had this weird dream, and everyone's freaking out about it. Now let's see what those ghost cats actually were. Let's skip ahead to pages 57 and 61. You guys ready for this? Alright, so coming up next, they're investigating this tunnel, and all of a sudden, this happens. Behind him, Crowfeather saw what looked like some sort of white cloud surging through the tunnel entrance. But in the next heartbeat, he realized that the cloud was actually a pack of ferocious animals, snarling and hissing as they chased the fleeing breeze pelt. Their eyes glittered with malice as they poured out of the tunnel and up the slope after him. They weren't ghosts or wayward kitty pets. He'd never seen white ones before, but there was no mistaking the creatures that were about to overtake his son. Stoats! Crowfeather gasped. Snow White Stoats! Oh my goodness, guys, that has to be like the dumbest name ever for like a villain creature. Stoats! Stoats are like these little weaselly-like things that are really scary. They can run like bolts of lightning. They are and they kill rabbits, and they're
twice their size.
Really carnivorous.
They eat rabbits twice their size.
Yeah, they're tiny. They're like little worm creatures. And they're really deadly. I love that they finally draw upon this English thing, these English creatures that live in England that are very vicious. Anyway, so everybody was freaking out previously thinking that these were ghosts, but now they know. Stoats, Crowfeather put in. We know now that they are stoats. These creatures are stoats, now we know! They're weaselly things.
Look them up. They're super adorable, especially the white ones.
Yeah, they're really cute, but they're gonna kill ya. Anyway, so sorry this one wasn't really about Kestrelflight, but as I said before, he's a pretty minor character, doesn't have a whole lot, but he did have that vision, telling about what he saw. I don't know if... I've only skimmed through this book so far, I'm about to read it totally, it's really interesting, but I think that the stoats are like the water, because there's so many of them, they're like a flood. But let me know what you guys thought of Crowfeather's trial down below. Really interesting book. And Nightcloud gets taken by the stoats, I think. But we'll have to read more and see. Well, I hope you enjoyed today's drawing and theory. Make sure to check out the video on the side of our last speed paint. And click that subscribe button and little bell icon so that you can always be notified when we upload, so that you can be part of #EarlyClan. Down below in the description will be links to our eBay and Etsy stores, where cool merch items are available for purchase. Alright guys, thank you so much for tuning in. I'll see you soon for the next speed paint. Bye-bye!